name's Mel. If we haven't met before, you are going to need a resistance band or a booty band or one of these Glute bands for our class today. If you have one of the long resistance bands, you can always tie a knot in that to create the loop. Grab one of these and I'll meet you on your mat. We're going to start in a 4-point kneeling position. Let's pop the band over the top of our knees, so it's up onto our thigh. And we're going to come over into that 4-point kneeling position. Our wrists are directly underneath our shoulders. I'm pushing my chest away from the mat, and my knees are hip distance apart and they're directly stacked underneath your hips. You should feel nice and balanced in this position. I'm going to start off with my right leg, so I'm going to extend my hip up towards the ceiling, pushing my foot all the way up, resisting against that band. Glide the knee back underneath the hip, but not putting any weight into that side. We're going to keep pressing our right foot up towards the ceiling. Even pressure through the hands, and most of our weight is back on that supporting knee, so that left knee that's staying on the mat. My collarbones are nice and broad, and the crown of my head is reaching forward. Trying to keep my torso nice and still, so drawing up through my belly button just a little bit. Let's go for another 5. Pressing up for 3. Last 2. Last 1. And then let's take it over to the other side. My left leg is going to extend up. Draw it back underneath the hip. The foot is pressing up towards the ceiling. Press and lower. Doing 10 more on this side. Even pressure through the hands still, and our weight has just transitioned over to that right supporting knee. Torso staying nice and still. We're trying not to open our hip out to the side. Press for another 3, 2, 1. Let's go back over to the right side. This one's more of a fire hydrant position. I'll turn around so we can see a bit better. We're going to lift our knee out to the side this time. Press and lower. Press and lower. Again, even pressure through the hands, and we've shifted that weight back over to the left knee. Draw that belly button up, squeeze through that hip. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, last 5, good, last 2, and last 1. We switch over to the left side, transition that weight to the right, lift that left knee, slowly bring it back underneath the hip. Resisting out against that band. Here for another 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful job. Whew. Let's come lie onto our left hip. We're keeping the band exactly where it is around our knees. Let's rest our head down onto our bicep, and we keep both sides of the waist nice and long. Clam position 1 is where our feet are down on the mat, and clam position 2 is where we lift our ankles up. So you pick which clam you would like to do, and we open that top knee, resisting up against that band. Nice steady breathing. We like to exhale to open, inhale to close if you're moving with that breath. Working on that hip, rotating that knee, open, gently squeezing those ankles together. Let's go for another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Resting those ankles down if you had them lifted. We're just going to roll over onto your other hip, and let's do the other side straight away. Resting that head down, let's open that top knee. Clam position number 1, ankles down. Clam position number 2, ankles lifted. Beautiful job. Let's go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, And finish your last one. Nicely done, rest those ankles down. We're gonna roll straight over onto your back. Resistance band stays exactly where it is, and we go into our pelvic curls. We're gonna do a pull apart at the top. Tuck the tailbone under, gently peel those hips up towards the ceiling, holding at the top. Press the knees out against the band. Slowly bring them back to the center, and we roll out of that curl. We continue to tuck, peel, lift the hips, hold at the top, band pulls apart, and slowly roll those hips down. I want you just to do 10 at your own pace. I'm here doing them with you. Hold at the top, nice big squeeze, press apart, slowly lower. Good. Moving a little bit slower pace than we were with our clams and our hip extensions. Focusing on that time under tension, making sure we are actually feeling it through the back of the body, so through the glutes and a little bit through the back of the legs. If you're feeling it too much in the hamstring muscles, so the back of the thighs, you just need to bring your heels a little bit closer in. You'll get more height and you'll feel like you can squeeze your butt a little bit easier. You want to press your knees out against the band the whole time. We're just pressing out a little bit further when we're up at the top. Getting that really nice articulation, decompressing through that lower back. Trying to flatten your back out before you lift. Arches of our feet stay lifted. Excellent. Once you finish your 10, we're just going to rest, rocking those knees from side to side. Won't be here for too much longer on our back. Excellent. Last one. Let's lift those hips back up towards the ceiling into that pelvic curl position, that bridge position. We're going to lift one leg up, resisting against the band. Slowly lower, other leg lifts, resist against that band. And we're marching from side to side. I want you to keep the hips as still as possible. Minimize the rocking from side to side. We're going to keep pressing into that foot that stays on the mat and keep the height as we lift the leg. Feel that transition from side to side. Shouldn't be too much resistance against the band. It might creep up your thighs. That's okay. Let's press for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly roll back down. Nicely done. We are going to come up to a standing position next. You are going to need the band around your feet, just like so around the arches. You can have it around the ankle, that's a little bit easier, but let's go for the feet. Unless you're on a really heavy band, pop them around your ankles. It'll look like this. But if you're on quite a relatively doable resistance, pop them around your feet. Our crab walks, we are in this bent over position where my butt is back and my chest is forward and broad, so my collarbones are nice and broad. And we're going to take some tiny little steps over to one edge of your mat. Arches of the feet stay lifted, and our feet are on like train tracks, so they're always pushing forward. And I think about pressing out with my heels, so I'm really engaging through my glutes. Little crab walks here. Just the length of your mat. If you have longer, go for it. Walking from side to side, those little steps, making sure we always have resistance on the band. So even when I bring that foot back in, the band hasn't really gone too lax. If you'd like to add a little bit of extra spice, when you get to the end of your mat, you're going to squat down and squat back up and go into your crab walks. Squat down, back up into those crab walks. If you'd like to add a little bit more spice again, you squat down and we do a little jump. Completely up to you. Squat down, little jump maybe. Be mindful of the band if you are not good with balance. Maybe lose the jump and just keep your feet firmly placed on the ground. The glutes should be burning up. have a couple more here. Because that breathing rate has increased a little bit if you're moving quite quickly, you can slow it down. So if you want to just embrace the burn, move nice and slowly, keep that heart rate down. It's your class, do what feels good. You don't have to add the squat or the squat jump. It should be burning just enough. Let's do 2 more laps. Walk to one end, squat or squat jump. Walk to the other end. We're nearly done. Whew. Hand rested there. Lose the band. 2 options for a glute stretch. You can come down into like a half pigeon pose or a pigeon pose where you tuck that leg under and find that nice stretch through the glute, or make your way onto your back. One ankle crosses over that opposite knee. You can lift the leg up for a little extra stretch. Just take a minute on your mat. Bring that heart rate back down. Switching sides whenever you feel ready. Give those glutes some loving. After you finish stretching, you have the option to go back and do it all again. So you can do a round 2 or a round 3 if you like. I'm going to leave it exactly where it is. If you have a little bit more time though and you'd like to do it again, use the stretch as a little bit of a rest. Maybe don't stretch as long, just 30 seconds on each side. Jump back in, do a stretch to break it up again. That's your last set. Maybe do a minute stretch on each side to finish off with. Whew. Feel free to stay stretching as long as you need. You can do both the pigeon pose and that one if you like. But thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you on your mat for your next class.